John Osborne here. Let's do the FX educational outlook for today, May 23rd, 2017. We'll start out by looking at the pound yen. You can see that we've made this move down generally between December and April or so. We've had this nice run up. We've had a little bit of a pullback here. Now we're still looking bullish on the weekly, and we've gone up and watched this for the last couple of weeks here as we approach this previous pivot high and pull back a little bit. And we're looking for a potential re-entry point here, and a good one might be right along this slide right here. And we're just approaching that today, although we're still looking a little bit bearish on our momentum. But if we can get above 145.407, watch for a good movement up and see if we can move up towards that 148.447, especially if we can break above this previous pivot here. We have a similar setup in the pound loonie. You can see we've established a little bit less steep of a line here, and the break point similarly here is about 1.78244, and you can see we're bouncing similarly off the 200 bar weekly moving average. If we look at our Swissy yen, you can see that we're making a run up above this previous 114.300 pivot right about here. We moved above it, came back down and retested back to the center of the Bollinger Bands that I have here, and then we made another move back up again. Now this looks a little bit flat here, but I want to keep an eye on this to see if we can break above this previous swing high. It looks like that's around 114.5 or so. Let me just go ahead and check that to find out. It's at 114.959, and you can see our bullishness here on the weekly, and I want to watch this previous swing right here, and that's at about 115.529. So we can break above that, we might find ourselves going bullish for a little bit. Now we look at the Kiwi yen. What's interesting here is we haven't put another pivot in yet, but it looks like we're setting up for a bearish divergence here. So we've made a run down, and we've got a little bit of a what's called a mini uptrend here, and we are potentially going to stop right here and move back down towards this line. If we can break through this line, we've already broken it once, so we can break through that. We could see ourselves make a run down for the low here, which is around 75.658. You can see we've already broken this weekly trend line, went up and retested it over the past few weeks, so we might see a little bit more run down. We're looking a little bullish here. Just want to keep an eye on this in the coming days. And for the Aussie Swissy, you can see we're moving down towards this support, and that is defined by this 0.0724 or so line, by this pivot right about here. We came down and touched it, and we're bouncing up a little off that. So we can break below this point here, this 0.72413, then we could see a nice run lower down towards this point here on the weekly. And we are looking quite bearish. So let's watch for that break point there. And in the euro yen, wanted to point out that we are consolidating here on the 2-hour chart. You can see that same consolidation happening here. A little bit of weakness, but that's just more of the oscillator, MACD oscillation moving towards the center point. But I did want to point out too, we have another bearish divergence here, and that could signal that we want to go lower. So let's see what happens. We're weakly on the bullish, so we are in the middle of a consolidation here. We'll watch what happens. We kind of want to see if we can get a pivot, draw on a line, and watch for that break point there. And that'll do it for today. You can follow me on StockTwits and Twitter under the name TraderJohnO. And remember, for Wednesday at 2 o'clock, we do have the FOMC minutes release, so we might see a little bit of quietness and a little bit of doldrums before that happens, and maybe a little fireworks once that comes out. We'll see. And until next time, have a great day.